True.
Hey, Efren's trailing by 8 games, and that's not really the significant part of it. He needs to get a couple good starts here. 8 games is not an insurmountable lead at all.
Not at his level of play.
Not at all, but he really needs to kind of get established here and get in the match. Through no fault of his own, he's trailing. The other players just played so well. Unlike in other sports, in this sport, you may not get some good starts for a good long while when the players are playing at such a high level, and luck is not playing a role for you either.
Well, especially if you don't get a turn at the table.
Exactly.
Because the other one's playing that well.
And that's what's unique to this sport. And I think that adds a certain level of intrigue or mystery as to it's compelling drama.
Well, there's a certainly high drama because I can imagine what sort of desperation seeps into your mind when you're just sitting there watching the guy do his thing.
Yeah, just like when Efren retaliated last night with 4 or 5 rack runs. Earl said, "Hey, there's cobwebs on my cue." Well, absolutely no one doubts Efren Reyes' supremacy at rotation.
Well, Efren Reyes wins his 3rd game of the evening and cuts the lead down to 42-35.
Well, Efren really nailed that break. Look at the cue ball stopped dead. The 8 ball sifted in the back pocket. And unfortunately, I believe the 3 ball may have impeded the 1 ball's access to the corner pocket. If that's the case, we will not see him play a combination shot, I don't believe. Look at this masterful safety.
Just hit that cue ball behind the 3.
The speed and the control that was required, that's harder than making most shots. And the knowledgeable audience here acknowledged that.
With a lot of oohs and ahs.
Well, that fine safety was rewarded now. Efren is going to get to start this game with ball in hand. That's the penalty for a foul in 9-ball pool. Now, statistically speaking, with players of this skill, when you award your opponent ball in hand, it's an 85 to 90% immediate loss. So it's just near death to commit a foul.
Why does it happen that way, Earl, that when you give your opponent ball in hand, he's most likely to make it?
Well, because he gets to start with such a good position, and once these guys establish control of the table, and especially the masterful Efren Reyes position play, he very seldom has to make a great shot after he starts with ball in hand. Now he's obtained pretty straight in angle on the 5, and he's going to have to force it just a little bit. And this was probably the best he could have did under the circumstances, but less than what you would like to have. He hit that ball awful nice. You had to use quite a bit of speed, and when you go down the rail at that speed, the pocket's very unforgiving.
It's as if the pocket shrinks, huh?
Absolutely. When the ball comes at it with speed, the pocket size diminishes.
Well, 2 games in a row. This is the first time that Efren's been able to manage it tonight. And the score is 42-37. I'm sorry. Correction there, it's 42-36 in favor of Earl Strickland. When one of the players reaches 70 games won, and we will retire tonight's session to come back tomorrow.
Boy, he maneuvered the cue ball around the six quite nicely there. One of the things the viewers at home might enjoy watching is if you notice how loose Efren grips the pool cue. This allows him to obtain a high volume of spin on the ball with a minimum amount of force. And he can achieve shots that the other players don't even imagine. Their strokes aren't capable of affecting the cue ball in the same way. The ultralight grip, what it does is it allows just 19 ounces of cue to strike the cue ball as opposed to 19 ounces plus 10 foot-pounds of muscle pressure. And when you get that extra weight hitting that, it doesn't apply spin. It just slides the ball out there.
What sort of advantage does spin give a player?
Okay, what it allows him to do is utilize, it makes the pockets much more forgiving because he can use minimum speeds, but travel the cue ball great distances because it retains so much spin so freely. So he pockets the balls a little freer and he's able to do more dynamic things with the cue ball.
It is now 42 Strickland, 37 Reyes.
Interestingly enough, that's Efren's first break and run out of the evening. Well, these guys are both warriors, and I'm sure that it's going to be very exciting throughout the evening.
Well, it has been throughout this match. First night we ended the session with Strickland in the lead at 35-32. Score now stands at 42 games for Strickland and 37 for Reyes.
Oh, that flash of the old Efren there. He opened this rack with a tremendous shot on the one ball. Now it's just a matter of maintaining his focus through the rest of the balls there. They're aligned properly. And he seems to be pocketing balls a little freer than he was earlier in the match, where he's kind of established a rhythm and the tempo now. You know, in addition to the great shooting we're seeing, to be able to compose yourself when you're trailing in a match like this, with your opponent playing so well, where it just looks like you have no chance. This is really where the experience comes in, and this is what makes this a sport.
Well, I guess for mere mortals, the temptation to try and hurry it up would just be too great.
You're absolutely right.
Score is 42 for Strickland, 38 for Efren Reyes.
As you were saying before, the temptation to hurry up is definitely great. It has to be fought. You're not going to win a bunch of games in a row with one stroke of the cue. You have to make a ball at a time, and it's hard to maintain that level of tempo that makes you stay focused, shot after shot, ball after ball. But that's what's necessary.
Well, then you'll be fighting against human nature, but that's what makes great players, right?
More importantly, I think that's what makes this such an interesting thing to watch.